All right, everybody, shalom, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show. And we are broadcasting live from Judea and from the 12th day of this conflict, of this war. What is this war about? You probably ask. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been living in a cave for the last 12 days. But if you need a little reminder, here's what the war is about. All right, so that's a great overview of what transpired. But let's talk a little bit about the crime itself. The crime is massive, and people have gone out of their way to explain what really transpired and what we dealt with, which is the numbers are still coming in. We're still dealing with how many murdered in one day. Is it 1,200? Is it 1,500? Is it 200 captives? A massive onslaught and attack, a breakthrough through the fence in Gaza, between Gaza and Israel, and a murder of women and children. Let's listen to former Minister Ayelet Shaked.
I'm Ayelet Shaked, the chairman of the Friends of Schneider Hospitals, the biggest hospital in Israel for children. People ask me if there are many injured children in the hospital from the massacre on Shabbat. So the answer is no. They didn't wound children. They just slaughtered them and burned them and made sure that they were dead before they left them. So now we have either dead children and babies or children and babies in the hands of the Hamas. The world needs to know about those atrocities. Hamas is ISIS.
Okay, so that was Ayelet Shaked, former minister here in Israel, and she's basically laying out to you what the crimes were and how we should think about it. That one of the slogans that's going on is Hamas is ISIS. Is it just Hamas, or is it a societal thing? Is jihadism inside of so-called Palestinian society? I claim that it is. And here's Ezri Tubi making, I think, a fair explanation of what Palestinian society has been training itself to believe for so long, in the education that we see. And we saw it also in an UNRWA. There was an UNRWA, a video about what Palestinian children believe in UNRWA schools. And it's all like Jews are the devil and Jews must be killed. They can't wait to fight Jews. Here's Ezri Tubi on his take on what's happening in Palestinian society.
Let's talk about the civilians in Gaza. Are they to be considered innocent? An innocent civilian is a regular person who cares for his family and tries to do good in the world, and there's no reason why they should get hurt. But a mother of a terrorist who encouraged and educated her son to kill innocent civilians and expresses how proud she is after he did so. Is she innocent? Well, of course she didn't perpetrate the act itself. Her son did, but it was she who sent him to do so. Anyone who refers to that mother as an innocent civilian has a deep moral problem. How about the family of a terrorist? Those who express how proud they are of their brother who murdered innocent children in their beds. Are they an innocent family? How about the society? The people that handed out sweets after innocent families were wiped out by their friends. The culture that glorifies terrorists, name streets after them, call newborns in their names, pay monthly salaries to the terrorist's family, and so much more. Is that society to be considered innocent? Over 1,000 Jews in 24 hours were violently slaughtered. Not one voice, not one, no commentator, no religious leader, no organization coming out of Gaza condemning these horrific actions. Could this kind of society, these kind of people, be considered innocent civilians? Anyone who thinks so is actively responsible for the killing of real innocent civilians and has a very big moral problem.
Okay, so on the one hand, we've got the crime, and we've got the assessment that this crime was not just an organizational crime, but a societal crime. And Esri Tubi is making the case that if you support Hamas, you have a moral problem. And Ayel Shaked is saying to us, Hamas is ISIS. They're not a liberation movement. They're a jihadist movement. And so whenever they talk about liberation, what they mean is that they want to liberate. That means they just want to destroy Israel. They don't want to liberate something for the Palestinians. They don't want equality or self-determination. They want to get rid of Israel because of jihadist, religious, fundamentalist principles. And anybody who sides with them is morally problematic. Well, here are some Jews in Washington, D.C., or ostensibly Jews anyway. I mean to say, I don't know if they're Jews or not. And here they are. Here they are protesting and asking for an immediate ceasefire. Let's see them. So these guys are out there calling for an immediate ceasefire, and they went into Washington D.C., into the Capitol building, and I think actually into the some of the congressional and some of the Senate buildings, and really shut it down with their loud claim that A, Israel doesn't stand for them, and B, that they want an immediate ceasefire, i.e., they're really saying that they stand with the other side and want Israel to stop its aggression. In other words, they're really siding with the jihad. I call those guys useful idiots, right? I call those guys useful idiots, the classic term that Lenin used for folks who backed him and who didn't understand that soon he would turn against them totally. Here's another view of that same group. All right. Yesterday I was on guard duty. Last night I was on guard duty, close to here in Gush Etzion, in Judea, and I had a guard duty from 12 to 3. It ended up being 12 to 3:30 at least. So I was out there in the real area, making sure that Jews are safe. And here was my take on guard duty and thinking about the situations that we're facing in Israel. Here's the way I saw it last night, out there protecting Jewish people in the middle of the night. Hey, I'm on guard duty tonight from 12 to 3 a.m. I'm making sure that this nascent Jewish community, this hilltop, is safe from folks coming in and trying to murder the people here. That's because we have jihadis all around us. And one of the things that I've been seeing recently, which I think is just such a mistake, is the discussion specifically about Hamas. We got to wipe out Hamas. Yeah, Hamas is one of them, but it's not the only one, right? There's the PLO and all the other organizations, Islamic Jihad. It's not just organizations. You got to understand, it's not organizations. There's a society today that backs these folks. And I'm going to say something that's not popular. Palestine is not a liberation movement and not something that wants self-determination. It is the enemy of Israel. It wants to erase Israel. It is a way to say we want to erase Israel, replace it with Palestine. It is the cover of jihadism. And if you go into Arab stores in the old city of Jerusalem and Hebron and other places, they will sell you a keychain or a mug or whatever that has the map of Israel and the word Palestine over it. So what's the goal there? Yes, the goal is to erase Israel and to replace it with Palestine. And so we've got to erase those cups and those mugs and those keychains. We can't have that. We can't have jihadism in our land, which is a call to destroy us. We can't have schools, newspapers, radio stations, mosques teaching jihadism in our land. That can't stand here anymore. That won't stand. So we have to be real, and we have to also have a common sense. We can't allow them to arm themselves and to prepare for war against us. It lulls us to sleep, and that's what happened with this great intelligence failure. So let's be real about what we're facing. That doesn't mean that every Arab is a jihadist, but it means it's not a few. And we got to be real that we can't let this sickness, this Nazism, rise up in our land. We've got to hold on to the rage that we're feeling right now, because this rage is a cleansing rage. It's not a personal, rage that wants to kill other people. It's one that says, no, we're going to defend it at all costs, and never again let what happened on October 7th happen again to the Jewish people and the Jewish state. All right, so there's so much to think about here, because there's also, not only is there local issues about jihadism, not only is there questions about Israeli intelligence, there's also geopolitical issues. The Americans are involved. The Iranians are certainly involved. The Russians may be peripherally involved. There's many theaters of operation. There's Gaza and Lebanon and Judea and Samaria and the cities of Israel, the mixed cities, and we have Iran over there. So we have many fronts. And if I wanted to understand what's going on in this war, there's really one person that I would turn to, and that would be Professor Dr. Mordechai Kedar, who's one of the few people in this world that really has a handle on Arab society. He served for 25 years in IDF military intelligence, specializing in Syria, Arab political discourse, Arab mass media, Islamic groups. He's an expert on Muslim Brotherhood and Islamic groups, Islamist groups, and also is a professor emeritus from Bar Ilan University for many years. Dr. Mordechai Kedar joins me today. Dr. Kedar, shalom and welcome. It is nice to see you, but on the other hand, if I'm seeing you today, that means that it's after one of the most devastating attacks that Israel has seen in its history. And I haven't gotten a chance to speak to you yet, so this is my first opportunity to do so. So let's start from the beginning. Amazing operation by Hamas, 2 years in the planning, and Israel somehow missed it. How does that happen?
Good question. It will be really investigated, and that's what I hope. After all, I spent 25 years in the intelligence, and the alert which the intelligence should have given to the state is embedded in the DNA of the intelligence. This is what the intelligence is for. What else if not for the warning and to ring the bell? And yet the intelligence missed the whole thing, and it will be investigated. As for now, I can already say, and this is more than clear, then that Israel was living in some kind of conception that Hamas people, leaders, organization are deterred and they are contained. Contained means that they live in Gaza. Everybody knows the borders. They honor the borders. The borders are very strong borders. We have the fence, and we have other things like all kinds of systems which could detect anyone who touches the fence, and many more things related to high technology, which gives us good defense from anything which might come out from Gaza. This was the pre-assumption. This was the conception which for years led the people here. As a result, We understand, or we understood, the Hamas want development, good health, education, um, construction or reconstruction of the places in Gaza which were destroyed in the former rounds. And in order to enable them to run the economy, Israel gave them 20,000 permits per day to come to work in Israel. It also helped the Israeli construction industry and so forth. So it was like mutual good for both sides. Israel needed their working hands and they needed the money, so Israel allowed them. And this was the mindset about Hamas and Gaza until uh, Shmini Atzeret morning, until October 7th morning. There were all kinds of information about the growing strength of the Quwat al-Fidiyya, as they call it in Arabic, actually the army of Hamas. We knew that they are developing new missiles because once in a while they were checking them by launching them to the sea, the West, not to Israel. But yet we knew about all these experiments. And I believe that the intelligence knew about all kinds of developments which they have in Gaza. Yet, since the conception was saying that they actually want development, good health, and stable life, all the information were put into this framework, which explained everything in a way or another, as long as it does not disrupt the theory. And then came October 7th morning, and everything just collapsed. And retroactively, we know that they were actually deceiving us to think that they are deterred and uh, and uh,
and that they're interested in
content,
governance as
content.
opposed to fighting. They want to just
Yeah,
govern.
yeah, yeah.
T-
All
t-
these
t-
things
tell
which
me
make
tell me just in parentheses, just a short answer here. How similar is this to the Yom Kippur War? Like how the same things you're saying
almost
to me.
one on one.
Right. Conception, boy who cried wolf trick, like, deterring the intelligence by coming up to the fence over and over again. It's like the same thing. It's unbelievable.
Now,
It's
this
unbelievable.
conception, yeah, definitely. This conception actually was the result of another, I would say, uh, kind of thought about Hamas. I had like 5 years ago a meeting with one of the high officers in the intelligence, in the Agaf HaMechkar, the analysis department of the intelligence in Tel Aviv. And he started saying, when we talked about Hamas, he said, well, Hamas is a rational player, שחקן רציונלי. When I heard this, I almost jumped out of my skin. And I started to yell at him. So what's wrong with this saying? I said, look, if you think about the logic behind the saying that Hamas are a rational player, it actually means that we have our rationale, which wants all kinds of, prosperity, good health, good life, whatever we are looking for. And this is our realistic achievement. And uh, since Hamas, as you say, are a reasonable player, they actually want the same thing.
Right. Like a Western, good life, shop at Zara,
Right.
have latte
And
coffee.
and and I told him this is the source of all evil in the assessment of the intelligence. When you start analyzing your enemy according to your culture, according to your reasonability, according to your reason, actually, according to your set of values and scale of priorities and culture in general, while he is a Muslim Arab who has totally different religion, totally different scale of priorities, totally different set of values which he believes in, totally different way of conduct, the chance that you can forecast what he will do is
Right.
actually zero.
Right.
Because you think like Western society, like Israel, is modern, liberal, secular in most
But
cases.
Dr. Kedar, isn't that something that you learn in intelligence school? Isn't that something to like think like a whoever it is, in this case, think like an Arab? Isn't that like alphabet of how you
I,
conceive of like intelligence? Like it's
of course.
yeah.
Look, when
All
I
right.
used to, for many years, I used
I
to give.
Dr. Kedar, I need to use the time to get
Okay,
the stuff
so
that
this
people need.
is actually the I would say the cornerstone of their own conception that they think like us, they want like this exactly the same things, and this is where we fail.
Okay.
However, and,
I go ahead. Go ahead.
and here comes the big however.
Mhm.
I like half a year ago in on March or April, I published an article about how the next war will look like. And I assumed, I gave this assumption, that the next war will be, of course, run by Iran, means will be concentrated by Iran, and it will include Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Gaza Strip. All these countries have Iran proxies. Iran will arrange a mass attack on Israel from all these five directions, causing tremendous damage to Israel already in the first hour with missiles, with drones, with a land incursion, with whatever can be in order to bring Israel to its demise. Until the world wakes up to see what happened, Israel will be finished. Until the world starts ending. This was the satanic Iranian plan. All these players should have waited patiently. I mean, they could, of course, acquire weapons, ammunition, train themselves, do whatever needed in order to be ready for the moment when Iran will tell them, go. And this is what I published. And I think that it actually became the scenario which the everything in this country was talking about. This will be the next war. Um, and Hamas were not to open a war with us without the Iranian permission. However, that's what they did. They actually started a war by themselves without even consulting with the Iranians, not about the operation, but about the timing of the operation. The timing was October 7th was chosen by Hamas against the Iranian will.
And that's
Why
what
did
you're
they do?
hearing. You're hearing that through signal, through chatter,
No, from
through.
analysis of all kinds of bits of information.
Mhm.
Now, why did Hamas time this assault on Israel to October 7th? The kibbutzim, the moshavim, the army bases in the perimeter of Gaza were the same. What pushed them to launch this attack on October 7th rather than waiting for the Iranian order. It would be even better for them to wait, because then Israel is devastated. Israel cannot retaliate. Israel cannot function. Israel is caught in surprise. And the results from the Gazan point of view, of the Hamas point of view, would be much better, because Israel has been attacked from all the directions. What pushed them to carry out this assault against the Iranian order or against the Iranian will, of course, Hezbollah also, against Hezbollah will, on October 7th morning? And the answer is the music festival, which was near Gaza. This is something which was not a week earlier, was not 2 weeks or 3 weeks when Rosh Hashanah was. This was the night and the morning of this festival. First of all, this is not the first festival. It is like either the 6th or the 7th in a row. In a row means every year they know already what is happening there. They hear it from Gaza. They hear it. And for them, it makes them very angry, because this Western music, when everybody in Gaza knows that these are boys and girls who are dancing together, are drunk with alcohol, could also be, getting some high, and the music which they are dancing goes to every home in Gaza, and they hate it. They hate because it's Western music with Western characteristics. They timed the attack to the morning of this festival. The festival started in the evening of Friday and was supposed to go all the way to afternoon of Shabbat. Means like 20 hours. In the morning, the people are already tired. Everybody sees them. They cannot run away without being seen. It's not the night. And they might be also drunk and maybe high. Very easy prey to catch them, to capture them, and to either bring them to Gaza or use them as human shields when they will have the whole line of defense inside Israel. This is what they planned. This was the plan. And this is actually what made this what we call the natural uh, festival. The festival in the
nature festival. Yeah, nature festival. Yeah.
Nature festival, as it was, and this is actually what timed the assault or the whole night. Yishai, the Iranians are very angry, at least in the first day, because Hamas actually broke the plan. Because now they have one less very important player in this scheme, which they planned.
And the element of surprise is gone now.
Never surprise is gone. Now Israel is much more aware of its vulnerabilities along the borders, and Israel will fix all kinds of things. Israel will strengthen the power on the borders, especially vis-a-vis Lebanon, it means Hezbollah. Now Israel will be much more alert and much more aware of this possibility, because Hezbollah planned the same thing.
So what you're saying then is that while this was a horrific event, a horrific attack, it may have actually saved Israel in that a combined attack was not what happened, and the element of surprise was ruined. Now Israel is in a posture of at least awareness, still defensive, but is not going to be surprised anymore if an attack comes from anywhere like Yemen or other places.
Now we woke up to understand the situation, and like since this started, like almost 2 weeks ago, I got some 20 or 30 emails or phone calls or WhatsApp messages. Hey, you talked about this. It was like half a year ago. So, and this is actually what is happening. In the first days, the Iranians and the Hezbollah did not interfere at all
Hmm.
because they somehow said, with words or without words, to the Hamas people, "Hey guys, you betrayed us by
You're on your
starting.
own.
You're on your own to
Right.
deal with the Israelis. Good
Right.
luck. Don't call us. We'll not call you."
Right. But on the other hand, you know, it was a successful operation. Israel is embarrassed. This is
No, 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 no. Don't be mistaken. The
Mhm.
plan was to end or to come to the end of the operation only after Hamas have already built a line inside Israel, which will include the kibbutzim and the moshavim, which
The
are
Gaza border communities.
right inside these fortifications.
Uh-huh.
They were supposed to actually occupy part of Israel
Hmm.
in that area in order to have a better negotiation point vis-a-vis Israel to negotiate the releasing of their prisoners and
Hmm.
all kinds of things. Because if I read them correctly, they will try to have a swap agreement with us, which will include concessions in Jerusalem,
Hmm.
means that Israel withdraws from East Jerusalem and declares that it doesn't belong to Israel anymore, so the Waqf can take it, or the Islamic movement, or the other friends of Hamas. So this could be very easily one of their demands, and not because I say it here, because this is how they think.
Okay. So how do you
So
how do you see it now moving forward? This conflict.
okay, this sentiment of you are on your own, I think was for like 3 days or 4 days into the war, and little by little, Iran and Hezbollah understood they have to embrace the Palestinians. Otherwise, the whole thing will go in vain. And this is why this is actually the situation. And now they are helping Hamas, not because they love this war so much,
Hmm.
because they understood that if Hamas is being defeated decisively, the next will be Hezbollah. And the next
So
will be the militias in Syria.
is Hezbollah going to enter this war fully? They have these reportedly 150,000, 200,000 accurate and serious rockets that could penetrate Israeli airspace, could strike at Israeli infrastructure and places like the Knesset, etc. This is a nightmare scenario. Before I even go on, I just want to ask you, like, how is it that Israel has allowed her enemies to arm themselves so seriously against it? Isn't that violence in itself? When you arm yourself, when you prepare to destroy another country, isn't that something that you should stop? Isn't that Israel's responsibility to have a never again scenario? We just lost that whole never again thing in Gaza. Don't we have a never again scenario where we're not supposed to allow people to arm themselves against us like this? And now that they are, these guys are going to enter the war. Are they going to shoot these 200,000 rockets? Are we going to that level? And then thirdly, I need to ask you about this. What's with the Americans? Why are they here? Why are they here? And are they on the right side of this conflict?
Well, listening to Biden and to Blinken, Biden had two speeches, one last week and the other one was yesterday. I think that I was surprised to what emotional level these speeches aimed. I think that if you take the speeches as they are, without the background noise, like the war and other things, I think that Israel could not expect a better talking about Israel. This was tremendous. This was big. However, and here comes the big how. In Western societies, Western culture, the more you give up to your neighbor, the less he honors you.
No, in Eastern, in Middle Eastern, you're saying.
Middle East, right?
Right, not in what, right. In the Middle Eastern, right. The more you give, the more you say you're willing to concede or come to compromise. The more your colleague says understands you to be weak, spineless, contemptible, not
Right,
respectable.
right. Because if you don't respect yourself, your interests, so nobody else will do it for you.
Hmm.
So this is actually what is happening here. And now we have to see because apparently Hezbollah is, and when we talk now on a Thursday night, the 18th of October, as it is now, Hezbollah has not yet started the war from its side. All they do so far is to send the Palestinians in Lebanon with weapons, with a car, with whatever, or explosive belt in
Hmm.
order to kill as many Israelis as they possible.
Why are
Well,
they waiting?
who?
Why is Hezbollah waiting? Why are they not going into the war big? Are they going to wait
Because,
this war
because
out?
now, because of the American
Uh-huh.
fleet which came, they didn't expect because if the plan was as planned means to attack Israel in one moment from five directions, five militias, five whatever, they would be much more successful
But these are the
than that.
Americans. This side of the American political aisle. Here, for example, here's a listener right now, Teresa McAvoy, who writes, "I'm an American. I do not trust Biden. We know that Biden is a two-state solutionist. We know that he's going to want us. He's already mentioned a few times in his speeches Palestinian self-determination, etc.
Yeah.
Like
Look,
okay, so he's
let me tell you, in my humble view, it's not only Biden who came, also the Prime Minister of Britain came, and there are more to come. They are uh, shaking and shivering out of fear. Why? They are afraid that if Israel actually does the right thing and gets rid of Hamas altogether, this will send Hamas sympathizers in these countries, and there are many of them, to the streets to demonstrate, to attack police stations, to loot all kinds of things. They will lose their, I don't know, the priorities. They lose everything.
Mhm.
So this is actually what the situation is now. And it all depends on, I think, the decision of Hezbollah. If they decide to start launching against us part of their missiles, which are uh, in the border, near the border. So this is actually the situation now. People are waiting here in Israel, and they really don't know what will happen with Hezbollah if they enter the war. So far, I think that they did it on a very low scale in order not to escalate the situation. Yet there is a limit to what they how the limit to what they can tolerate
Shouldn't
Israeli
sh-
land
sh-
land operation in Gaza. And
shouldn't Israel be the escalator? Shouldn't we use this opportunity to wipe out those missiles? Shouldn't we use this excuse, this understanding that Iran has armed our enemies against us and they're serious? Shouldn't we use this opportunity to take care of those 200,000 rockets now,
you are
etc.,
definitely right.
and fight the jihad in general, which has taken over our land?
And take another thing in account that that you want to finish problems with Iran on Iran's proxies now before Iran becomes nuclear. You do not want to mess with Iran and its proxies in a situation when Iran is full of
Nuclear weapons.
weapons.
Nuclear weapons.
Yes. So
Right.
what I'm saying is that maybe now is almost the last chance to deal with Iran, which is the source of all evil in this region, before it becomes impossible because of the nuclear weapon which they might have.
What excuse could Israel want more than this heinous attack? This is it. This is the opportunity. Dr. Kedar,
Look,
are we
the world
Israel?
understands that sometimes wars are defensive wars, and even if you start a war which makes you, on the losing side, if you start a war, you are the problem. Yet, if this is the war which you can prove that this was against terrorism, which will come eventually at some point, you are able to do it.
Dr. Mordechai Kedar, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Eli Chmielewitsky, I guess, says, absolutely, Israel should make an end to these missiles. Don't trust anybody else to do it. There's an opportunity here, and I hope that they hear your analysis, and I hope that Israel can get healing through this. Stop coddling the jihadists. See them for what they are. Respect them for what they are.
Right.
Take them seriously, and therefore take them out. Dr. Kedar, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Good night.
God bless you. Thank you very much. There is nobody in this world like Dr. Mordechai Kedar. He is an amazing advocate for Israel and an amazing analyst of Arab affairs. He's done an amazing job also at places like Al Jazeera. And so that was great analysis, and thank you very much. Very interesting what he said about that this was actually a war that Iran wanted to delay. That is an interesting piece of information. Let's see what else we have. Let's take a look at what else we have. We have a lot of folks that care very much about Israel that are speaking out. The fronts that we're dealing with is Gaza and Lebanon, but Dr. Kedar talked about other fronts. Here's what was going on in Hebron, where I work every single day. Take a look what was going on there after they heard that there was this hospital bombing. At the time, this was the perfect blood libel. It was like, and Rashida Tlaib put it out, 500 Arabs were killed by Israeli missiles. It turns out like 50 were killed by Islamic Jihad missile. But here's what was happening in Hebron in response to that. So there's rioting in Hebron, and the real question is, will this spread broader to the Arab world in general, or will it not? And so if you listen to a lot of the things that I just asked right now, the questions are, defensive. Will the Arabs do this? Will the Arabs do that? Will they attack or will they not attack? Where's Israel's King David? Where's our strike? Where's our fist? Where's our stopping the jihadism and the Nazism, whatever it is, before it strikes? Where's that attitude? And so I'm a little bit tired of feeling like I'm waiting around for the Arabs to dictate when they attack and if they attack, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to see a little bit more Israeli strength. Israeli strength comes through strong Israeli identity. And a person with a strong Israeli and Jewish identity is none other than Malka Fleisher. Malka, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much.
If I can have you a little bit louder, I appreciate that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear it. That's better. Good.
Okay,
Okay. Malka, you said something to me which blew my mind. You really did. You said to me,
great.
Yeah. And I want to hear you just a tad louder if possible. Can you give me like a 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3. Do you hear me?
Yeah, good. You told me that it could be that this whole period of waiting, of our soldiers waiting, is actually waiting to attack Gaza, is actually a time for people to get stronger religiously. You called it a Kiruv moment, a Kiruv camp. I want to show you some of the videos that I've seen of this kind of Kiruv that's happening out there in the field.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני האלוהים.
אדוני הוא האלוהים. אדוני הוא האלוהים.
אדוני הוא האלוהים. אדוני הוא האלוהים.
So these are video. This is a video of one of the chief rabbis. I'm not sure which rabbi he is, but in any case, he's out there praying with the soldiers. Here's another video. Okay, so there's a lot of energy out there, and
Right.
people are coming closer to Judaism at this moment, and they are getting kind of filled with a holiness and an energy and an identity, and that's a very strong thing that you pointed out to me. They're really kind of girding themselves.
Well,
With,
I think that, you had this horrific incident that occurred to our people. It enraged the nation. Then you took people out of their homes, you brought them together from all over Israel, you put them into units down in the south, you throw rockets at them. Jews are coming together, they're talking about things that are meaningful. They're full of righteous indignation. Then on top of everything, you have this like beautiful nation back home, and they're not just back home, but they're like pouring into the field all the time. They're coming with their sandwiches, and they're coming with their musical performances, and they're coming with huge boxes of tzitzit, and they're coming with their food trucks, and they're doing everything possible. They're sending like boxes and boxes of candies or protein bars, socks, underwear, toothbrushes, everything that they possibly can, raising money, prayer chains, everything that you can think of. So the energy of all this, the passion of it, and the just like sheer goodness of it is something that is like sweeping people up in the best possible way. And I don't think it's just happening out on the field, but I definitely do think it's happening out on the field. I think that out in the field where people realize, they've left their homes, they've left their businesses, they've left every human comfort almost to come down and defend their people. And they're starting to realize, what this whole thing is about. And what the deeper meaning of being a Jew is. What am I defending? What am I out here to fight for? Who am I out here to fight for? Who am I even that I'm out here fighting for this? And I think that it's just it's a very special moment. We can't be naive. Like, this is a war, and this is very real, and we're wanting every single soldier and every single person to come home safely. We want to accomplish our goals, we want to accomplish the mission, but we care about every person, that they should be safe and healthy. But at the same time, you have to recognize that this is something bigger than most Jews have ever experienced. That's going on, something nationally bigger than any of us have ever felt. You and
do you know,
I,
Malka? Do you
Yishai,
know, Malka,
yeah,
that some 30 Jews made Aliyah today, came to Israel
wow,
to move to
good for
Israel,
them.
and came
That's
during this war?
beautiful.
They're going to remember that
Good
forever.
for them, absolutely.
Speaking of remembering forever, here's one of my
Yes.
favorite videos of this war
Okay.
so far. I played it like 2 shows ago, but it's just it's 27 seconds. It's
Let's see
just
it.
ultra Orthodox folks making barbecue for the soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
יש לי שאלה, למה אתם עושים את זה? אהבת חינם, החיילים שלנו. איזה מרגש לראות את החבר'ה פה. למה אתם עושים את זה? Everything's great, Baruch Hashem. תיאבון, אתם המלכים שלנו.
Okay, so those are Israeli soldiers being fed by the
Right,
ultra Orthodox Jews.
Right, and they asked the ultra Orthodox Jews, like, why are you out here? And they're like ahavat chinam, like love without borders, right? Like just showing love. We're here to just show love, and that sense is very powerful out here.
Tell me about your experiences today out there.
Well, we have to just say that our daughter had her birthday today. There's a whole country full of Jewish kids who have been having birthdays. Probably a lot of people have seen videos of like weddings and all, like people are trying to live, right? So our daughter had a birthday, and on the one hand, like, of course, we're so happy and we celebrate a birthday. On the other hand, our nation's in like a very serious situation, and you can't
And full of
turn
distress.
away, right? You can't turn away from that. There's a war that's occurring now, but all the losses that we've already faced, that like the numbers are just like unthinkable, and that there are people who are still in Gaza. Anyway, you all understand what we're talking about.
What was your experience today?
So today we decided to do a little bit of everything. We wanted to celebrate our daughter's birthday, and we felt that it's right for a child to celebrate their birthday, or for anyone really to celebrate their birthday, frankly, especially now, to be glad to be alive. It's something to be very grateful for. So, we had a party with friends out on our porch, and some hot dogs and some fire, just to ease the atmosphere for the little group of friends who are really facing some tough days these days. But then in the morning we got up, and Isha, it was really your initiative. You decided that we were going to sponsor some meals um, for soldiers, as a little bit of a way of giving back on this special day, and not just being selfish about our simcha.
Right.
And we
Well,
went
it's
to
not just a day to just have a party. It's a day
right,
to see that people need you, and that our daughter will remember
right.
that on her day she didn't just get, she gave.
Right. She
And
was
that's a
part
very
of the
powerful thing.
community, of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. And so we went to a local restaurant, and ordered 20 meals, sandwiches in good bread, good meat, with French fries, onion rings, the whole deal, drinks. And then there was a position in Gush Etzion that we decided to visit. At first, we thought there were no
You
soldiers
mean a
there,
little army,
a
an
little
army.
army outpost.
Right.
And at first, I didn't think there was anyone there, and that we were going to have to eat 20 sandwiches. But then you didn't let it go, and you discovered that in fact there were soldiers inside. They came out, they took the sandwiches, they were very happy to get like a real meaty meal. The soldiers, they get fed, but it's something called manot krav, which is like basically all
Canned
preserved foods,
foods and right, preserved
preserved
foods.
foods, and like very, very basic stuff. So we gave them a good meal, and frankly, it inspired me too, and I realized that I want to take care of these soldiers a little bit more. So today's Thursday night. I took I think four, maybe three, no, four chickens out of my freezer. And I hope, with God's help, to make them tomorrow, maybe with some rice, buy some challahs, and send you back to that same army outpost to deliver it for Shabbat.
Hmm. That's great stuff, Malka. And people can definitely help be part of that, just feeding soldiers and giving them clothes and things that they need. A lot of organizations are doing it. The Jewish community of Hebron has a way for you to touch the soldiers and also the civilian defenders that are there by just feeding them non-military stuff, certainly. But there's a way to help them by just giving young Jewish folks the food that they need, the nourishment to stand on guard. Same thing you will find at YishaiFleisher.com. You can find that we have a project called Fight for Israel, which is also found at fightforisrael.org. And so Chevron Fund, YishaiFleisher.com, fightforisrael.org, easy enough. And also my good friend, I gotta do a plug for my good friend Ben Goldstein, who helps civilian defenders get the gear that they need, and that's at unitywarriors.com. So many good folks are doing great things. It's like amazing how many good folks are doing good things. But what I find also is that you don't even have to go big. You can go little. Like today,
Right.
we bought 20 meals for soldiers, and it was just awesome for them, and they were just so happy. 20 good
Right.
meals.
It made their day, and maybe that makes a difference, right? And that's kind of the point right now, is you just make your difference where you can. And
That's right.
realize that you have a lot of power, but you don't have to have all the power to yourself. Together as a people, we have all the power that we need.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me, Malcolm, maybe one more video to show you. Check out this video of American Jews in Brooklyn getting stuff over to Israel and get boxing it and getting it over to Israel.
Hey guys, check this out. Avenue P. There's dozens and dozens of homes like this all around the world, maybe hundreds of homes like this. Am Israel, all enlisted. Everybody wants to do something. So check this out. It's a bunch of goods coming from Amazon. Thousands of boxes of first aid kits, hydration, ropes. Let's see what else we got here. Band-aids, gauze rolls. Check this out. This is somebody's house. It's been like this for the last 3 days. White out. The stuff for the head, lights, gloves, knee caps. More knee caps, the whole box. All Amazon stuff.
All right, so you get the feeling, Malka. Folks are just giving what they can.
Absolutely.
And Robert Pepe says, spent time in Hebron over the summer, amazing place, and I give to the Hebron Fund whenever possible. And Cecilina Garza,
Cecilia.
not Gaza, huh? Cecilia.
Cecilia.
She's not breaking my heart. She's making me feel good because she's standing with Israel and blessings, she says. But Yemen, there's a guy here. He jumps in. He says, Yemen Alakayal. He says, Israel, baby killer. Okay. And so he's got bad things to say about Israel. He's siding with the jihadis out there. And Ellie also says, happy birthday to your daughter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Malka, speaking of our
Happy
daughter,
birthday to all the daughters. I really
That's
want
right.
us all to go back. Of course, we all want go back is not the right word because I don't want to say that actually. I take it back because we can't go back. And we shouldn't go back. We should go forward. We should go forward into a day where all the Jewish daughters are having a happy birthday, and where everybody is healthy and safe and free to make celebrations in health and security.
Well, also, I want to thank that daughter of ours who's Lea Batzion. She is producing today's program, so I really want to thank her very much. She's done a great job, and she's helped me get the guests and doing all the stuff, so it's really a lot of fun. And a lot of folks are part of it. If you want to be part of it, there are many ways, like I spoke about before. There are other ways as well. If you want to be part of the show, an easy way to do that is buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. And we have
difference. I just want to say, Yishai, I want to go back to that video that you played. You like hustled past it, that video with the Amazon packages.
Yeah.
I just want to say that over the last few days, really since the very beginning, but I just want to say it out loud that we see you, diaspora Jews. This is something that, it's easy to feel like we're going through it by ourselves here in Israel. Like we're definitely being targeted, right? So in that sense, we're the ones dealing with this, but just such an outpouring of love and support. And you can feel that people in the diaspora and my contacts are especially in the United States, right? So they're doing everything they can. And the feeling is so powerful that the desire, your desire to help. I've heard from more people that I haven't heard from in 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the last week than I've heard for so long. Just so many people reaching out. And I know that that out there, it feels like, they're always like, what can we do? What can we do to help? What can we do? And, Yishai, you gave a lot of good links. Those are definitely ways to help. Prayer.
And there's so many others. There's so many others. Yeah.
Yeah. Prayer, and more prayer.
That's right.
Being
prayer,
good to each other, being nice to each
right.
other. I really think that this issue of unity is clutch right now. We have to keep going in that vein, supporting each other, being there for each other, and realizing that who is the enemy and who is not the enemy.
Right.
And
so it's got that side, which is you're talking about, the side of like unity and love, and I would call it just generally tshuva, repentance, coming close to God. And then there's the other side. We got to push Israel to destroy its enemies, to have zero tolerance for jihadism.
Right. This is not about becoming fluffy.
Right. No fluffy.
This is not about like a lot of guitar playing. This is about like understanding who we are, who we're not, where we want to get to, and how we're going to get there.
Yishai Fleisher, check it out. Sonia from your home state of Texas says, prayer and blessings from Texas. Israel
Thank
strong.
you so
That's
much.
right. That's right. Amen. And my man Moshe Herman, who is very much a producer of the show, says that is so amazing. He loved those boxes, those Amazon boxes, and really, it is a beautiful thing. Am Yisrael Chai. So yeah, we see you. I like that very much, Malka. We see you. We see you, diaspora Jews. We see you, Haredi Jews. We see you, IDF. We also see you, the Jihad, for who you are. I like that. We see you. I like that. I like that a lot, Malka. I want to thank Malka. I want to thank Moshe Herman, Yocheved Seidman, Ben Bresky, Tabitha, and Lou when we're live like now for helping us make sure that we're doing it right and pushing it out there. And I want to thank all of you out there. Please write me an email, yishai@yishaifleisher.com. Malka, thank you for joining me. I want to
Yes,
bless
thank
you
you
for a
so much.
Shabbat Shalom. This is the Shabbat of the deluge, of the flood.
Yeah,
Parshat
where there was a
Noach.
lot of evil and it had to get washed out.
Right. And it says, literally says, in this week's Parsha, V'temaleh haaretz Hamas. Hamas filled the land. It means in that case, just wanton violence. And that's what Hamas is. And the only antidote is later on in the Torah, it says, V'temaleh haaretz otam. The land was filled with them. That is the Jewish people. There's two options. Either the world is filled with the land of Israel is filled with Hamas, and then the world is dark, or the land of Israel is filled with the Jewish people and the Jewish children, and the world will turn towards light. Malka Fleisher, thank you very much for joining me, and Shabbat Shalom to you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to you folks out there. May we have a peaceful Shabbat, a peace that comes through strength and victory. And may we see the erasure of Hamas and jihadism, V'temaleh haaretz Hamas no longer, and instead it'll say V'temaleh haaretz otam. The land will be filled with them, the children of Israel, not the darkness of Hamas. I want to thank you so much and send you lots of blessings from the land of blessings. Thank you, Hashem, even for this hard time. And we have so many hard things to overcome. There's still so many funerals, and there's so many people that have to come back from the captivity of being abducted by the Hamas. We have so much pain to still process and trauma to still process. And yet we thank Hashem at the same time for the goodness. And as you heard Mordechai Kedar, it could very well be that sneak attack may have even saved Israel in the end. God bless you. Here's Evo says Shabbat Shalom. And Scott Riley says Shabbat Shalom. He writes in Hebrew. And Yanis gives me the Greek flag with the Israeli flag and also some cloves. And folks all over the world are part of the great blessing of the Jewish people. We shall overcome, B'ezrat Hashem. It's Hashem's dream, it's God's dream, and He's not gonna let it go down. It's going up and up, even through this hard time. Through this hard time, we shall grow, we shall get stronger. Tammy says Shabbat Shalom. Ellie says Shabbat Shalom. And I say to you, Shabbat Shalom. God bless you. May Israel be strong, and then see peace as well. Shalom.